Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Do you guys ever get tired of this background? I know I film here a lot, but it's because I love the organs. I think they're gorgeous. They're so rugged and vivid. I absolutely love them. And this is pretty close to home, so I can come out and, on the weekends or after work or something and film something real quick. So I think the background's pretty cool. Obviously, I like to change it up a little bit, but it's a good background. So today we're talking about what would happen if I had to start my knife collection from scratch. And other YouTubers have made videos like this before, if I had to start over, what would I get? In fact, back in August or early September, I can't remember. Right now it's mid to late September, mid-September actually. I know a couple channels, including Gideon's Tactical, made videos on this, and again, it's been done a lot through the years. But I decided to make this video because of the recent break-in of my truck. If you haven't heard that story yet, I'll go over it quickly here. Someone got into my truck one night, and they stole some cash from my glove box. They tore everything up. They threw the contents of my glove box all over the place. I had a trash bag with review cutting trash in there, cardboard and pool noodle pieces. They dumped that everywhere. But they stole some cash from the glove box. They took a flare gun that I have in case of emergencies from my toolbox. They did not take the ammo, though. Now my face snap. So, good luck, I guess. And then they stole my field bag. And it could have been a lot worse. They could have stolen my truck. They could have vandalized my truck severely. They could have taken... I had lots of things in my truck they could have taken, including some knives and stuff. When they grabbed my field bag, they opened it and they took out my field notebook. They took out some of my gear and they left it there, which I really appreciate. It would have been devastating to lose that field notebook. But they did run off with the bag. I'm not too upset about that. Pretty sure it was a homeless guy. The bag they ran away with was a Camelback, so, it was probably appealing to them as a way to carry water. Being homeless in southern New Mexico in the summer is pretty rough. So, I'm not too mad about that. But one of the things that was in my bag when they took it was my Leatherman. And I do miss that. That Leatherman was given to me by my dad. And it was a Leatherman from the late 80s or early 90s. And, I do kind of miss that. But it got me thinking about, well, what would happen if one day someone did steal all my knives, right? If someone just stole my collection, what would I do? Interesting, though, about the guy that stole my bag, it was also full of rocks, because I'm a geologist. And he didn't empty the rocks out. They were there was a couple different pockets of the bag. The front pocket was kind of like this pouch. It had my first aid kit in there. He took that. Second pocket had my Leatherman, had a flashlight, some spare batteries, a magnifying glass, some fire starting stuff. He took, and then there's a bunch of rocks in there. He didn't empty out that pocket. And then the main pocket had my hammer, my notebook, some other things that he took out. And then the back pocket has the bladder for the Camelback. He obviously didn't empty out that second pocket, and so he ran off with a backpack full of rocks. And so, I imagine that was a little bit of a weird surprise for him. But anyways, what would happen if someone stole all my knives? Where would I start in rebuilding my collection? Obviously, look, I'm a collector. I love pocket knives. I love, just knives in general, right? And so I would obviously continue buying and growing my collection for as long as I live. But today we're going over the first 5 knives I would get to kind of bolster my collection. And these are knives that, I would buy to have as users, primarily. So the categories I come up with, because you've got to come up with categories for these videos, right? A fixed blade, a Swiss Army style knife, so multi-tool, Swiss Army style, whatever. A general purpose folding knife, a hard use folding knife, and a light duty EDC knife. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with a fixed blade because you guys all know what it is. It's the Cold Steel SRK. Obviously, this is going to be the knife I choose. A little bit dirty. I love the SRK. You guys have heard me talk about this knife so much. I'm not really going to go into it too much here. I've got enough videos about this knife. I love the SRK. It's an affordable knife. It's a durable knife. It's a dependable knife. I love the design of this. Super comfortable in hand. Great size. Great blade shape. The sheath attachments, or just the sheath itself, just works out really, really nicely. I do think this is one of the best fixed blade knives you can buy, right? And maybe if I had to start my collection over again, I would get like an upgraded 3V or San Mai version. Maybe, I don't know. These ones, the SK5 ones work just fine for me, so I might not bother with that. I'm not putting any price restraints on this video because I just didn't feel like it was necessary. So there we go. Steel SRK, definitely the fixed blade I would choose. Alrighty, next up, let's talk about the multi-tool / Swiss Army knife. I would go Swiss Army knife route. I'll be honest, I don't use multi-tools all that much, like Leatherman style tools all that much, which some people find a little bit weird because, as all you guys know, my summer job was as a cowboy. I built a lot of fence and, you know, worked with wire a bunch. But when I'm doing that, when you're building fence, you know, I carry my gear with me. I have a pair of fencing pliers, I've got a hammer, and I've got a little pair of wire nippers, and then of course my staples, wire, tie wire, splice wire, all that stuff. And so I just never really needed a Leatherman in that situation when I'm building fence on the ranch, at home, wherever I'm working. I just like to have the full-size tools with me. So yes, Leatherman tools are useful. I keep one in my field bag, so obviously I do find a purpose for them, but I think before I replace a Leatherman tool, I'd get a Swiss Army knife. Now, this is not the version I would go with. If I had to start over again, this is a Victorinox Soldier, and I love this knife. I've used this knife very, very hard. I carry this knife with me pretty much everywhere. Love this thing to death. But if I was starting over again, I think I would get a Victorinox Pioneer X. Pioneer with the scissors. Maybe a Farmer X. The Farmer adds the saw. I don't really use folding knife saws all that often, but hey, you know, have it around, right? So why would I go with the Pioneer? Well, you know, you've got a good sized blade on there. You've got the scissors, which I think are really, really excellent. Having a good pair of scissors around is a great thing. You can use them on bandages. You can use them for certain tasks that maybe your knife is not suited for. I know, as a knife guy, oh, what could that ever be? But, you know, they exist. And, yeah, and then, of course, you got your cap lifter, your bottle opener, and awl. I love awls. I use awls all the time. There we go. But very useful set of tools. I'd also like to get an ALOX version instead of the plastic version. Durability, I guess, is a factor, but for me, it's just more about the feel in hand. I think that the ALOX feels a lot more high quality, and it does add a little bit of grip. But yeah, that's absolutely what I do for a multi-tool. Okay, next up, our general purpose knife. This one's kind of a no-brainer for me. Spyderco PM2. I probably go for one of the S45, you know, just plain Jane version ones. This is my S110V version. I love the PM2 a lot. This is a fantastic knife. You really can't beat it for general purpose. You know, this knife can be a day-to-day EDC. It's nice and slicey, but it also has the build quality to serve you as a more durable, tactical knife. I mean, it's a paramilitary, but also you can push it into some harder use scenarios. Not hard use because, you know, you have a very thin tip, but harder use. And yeah, the PM2, it's just tried and true. Love the ergos, great blade geometry. Yeah, they're expensive, but honestly, I would feel incomplete without a PM2 in my collection. Absolutely love it. So PM2, definitely going to be my general purpose folding knife. All right, hard use folding knife. Hard use folding knives are a genre that I love. I think hard use knives, folding knives, absolutely have a place and a purpose. and picking one that I would get to have for a while, you know, as my first replacement folding knife was kind of hard. The 8015, I absolutely love that knife so much. I've got several of them, but I actually don't think it is the one I would go to for a replacement. Instead, I would go Cold Steel 8010. This is the 8010 Light. I would specifically go with the Tonto version. Would I go with the Light or the regular S35EN version? I don't know. I think I could go either way. Again, this one just happens to be the Light, but I love this knife and I love the Tonto profile. So, very comfortable ergonomics. This knife is just hand melting. For a hard use knife, that has a necessity. That's an absolute must. It has to be comfortable in hand. And the other thing with this Tonto blade, we've got a lot of use here. Look at that tip. Very strong tip. I can stab, I can pry, I can twist on this. I've got two edges so I can crunch down on zip ties. I've got a hollow grind here, so this knife actually is fairly slicey for how thick and robust it is. Yeah, this is absolutely the way I would go for a hard use folding knife. Absolutely love the 8010 Tonto. I was not expecting to love this knife as much as I do, but it is absolutely fantastic. Triad lock, of course. Yeah, Cold Steel can't be beat, right? Absolutely cannot be beat. Alrighty, and now onto my light duty EDC knife. This one also was kind of a no-brainer for me. It's a CJRB Pyrite. Drop point or the Wharncliffe version. I'd probably go for the drop point, but I could also do the Wharncliffe. I love them both. Great ergonomics. This knife is small enough to be unobtrusive and non-threatening, but it's also, for me, I can get a full forefinger grip on there. Plenty of edge to do a lot of work. I love this drop point shape. It's so versatile, so good. Button lock action, so it's nice and fidgety, you know, and that is something that we care about. Come on, admit it. You like fidgeting with your knife. I know some guys like to act tough and say they don't. Shut up, we know you do. Thumb stud action's fantastic. I'd get the steel scaled version because, I don't know, I just like the feeling of solidity. Great clip. Yeah, this knife just checks off a whole lot of boxes. I mentioned the non-threatening thing. That's an important aspect for me, you know, as someone who works a lot in academia. I always like to have a knife with me, but I also, you know, understand that not everyone is knife person, right? And so I try and be polite to people who might not be knife people, and I don't want to scare anyone, right? So absolutely love that knife. Plus it's geology themed, so, you know, it makes me happy. Was that a raindrop? You're kidding me. You hear the coyotes calling? It was a raindrop. Where did that big ass cloud come from? Alrighty. But there you have it. Those are the 5 knives that I would buy if my entire collection just disappeared. And of course, these would not be the only knives I would buy. I would continue collecting and buying knives like the crazy psychopath all of us knife collectors are. But these are the 5 that I would make a point to get first, because I think these fill a lot of niches in my personal day-to-day use. I think these fulfill a lot of tasks that I would need a knife to fulfill. And, you know, I am a collector. I do enjoy collecting, but at the end of the day, too, I'm a user. And these are tools, and they need to get me through my day. They need to complete my tasks, and they need to do it efficiently and safely, too. So there we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what your 5 knives would be. If you had to start from scratch, I'd love to read those comments. That's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you like this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. You know the drill. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Yeah, it's going to rain hard tonight.